The WWC, what the world is watching.
Wait, he's not doubling down on the 1.4 strategy, is he? Let's get into it.
600 plus days of last war grinding, battles spawn, lessons learned, strategies mastered. When we talk, you level up. Welcome to the Warzone Wrecking Crew.
Welcome into the WWC QB18 here, and we are going to visit our gear conversation once again with a part 2. Oh, some are very upset about that, and that's okay, because hopefully the ones that are watching this will take plenty of value away from it. So in our first one, we left some outstanding questions. I did want to touch on as far as where we would be using this gear. And then I also want to talk about who this video is for, that we created to begin with. So in this video, we are going to cover those things. Plus, we are going to prove out the value of 2 dot versus 1 dot, and why I like this 1.4 strategy for free to play and low spender. So I touched on one thing right there. Let's cover. Who is this video really towards? And that is free to play and low spenders who have a couple different situations that occur. A lot of prints, they have no tech, so they're limited in how they can use their prints. The people that don't have prints, because a lot of the people in the WWC community, the Discord, the lives, are telling me how they're struggling to get prints to begin with. And then the people who have prints and may have ore, but don't have gold for their tech. They're using all their gold in their tech. They don't have it for prints. And that means they find it very difficult to upgrade things. So when you have that, what you can do is the strategy that I'm pushing towards, which is 1.4 does not make you dumb. It's okay to upgrade. And when I say 1.4, is I'm just saying that you can upgrade if you're out of prints, you don't have enough prints to push to 2, whatever. It's okay to leave at 1.4 multiple things instead of just instantly doing 2. So first, after I tell you who this video is generated for, let's now take a look at where I like to put the gear, okay? So in these characters here, what I like to do, I'm going to talk about tank specifically, because that's who you start this game with, and that's who you should continue this game with. I really feel like when you start, you should just push through with tank, as I've said before. But some of you, if you're doing air, pretty much the same situation, maybe a little tweak to the damage dealers. But for tank, what I like to focus on is my main damage dealer first. So that's Kim. I want to be able to push the gun first, right? So my 5 prints I would put on her first for 1 dot. Then I would put it on her chip. I like to get my offense ramped up. When I don't have gear anywhere else, the first place I want to start is ramping up that offense, and try to just shock and awe. The second thing I'm going to do after I finish her is I'm, for tank, going to move to Stetman and hit my second damage dealer up. And that is going to get another dot right here. 1 dot for the gun. So far we put 1 dot on the gun for Stetman, 1 dot on the gun for Kim, 1 dot on the gun on the chip. Then I like to turn my attention to my defense. So I really want to focus on Murphy here, radar. Early in the game, you really want to focus on your radars. And that's because the majority of the heroes you run into, which are going to be Kim and Stetman, Tesla, are energy damage. So radar is going to help you with that. As soon as you start progressing in the game and you start looking at your second team, developing other things, you run into a missile team. In any case, you definitely want to focus on radar and shield equally, because the missile team is 4 out of 5 is physical damage. So you want to get into that. And then also you have air. You're going to have Morrison, who's physical. Marshall's more of a buff. So when we get into the damage dealers and we start talking, if you're wondering why didn't I put anything on Marshall, Marshall's a buff. So I don't really need to up him from a offensive perspective. I need to keep him alive. So in these things, what I like to do is maybe give him more of radar, and as we're going forward to protect against that energy damage and maybe keep him alive. But other than that, we're okay. So I like to put cover my radar And then also, not only is it for physical, by the way, you're also upgrading your hit points, which is important as well for the gear. So I do find it of value to push the armor on the defensive characters there as well. So, but let's say we focus on our radar here. We focus on our radar here. Okay. That's what I would do. Now for this demonstration, we have raised these to 0.4, just so everybody knows. We have our defense, our shield, we have our radar, we have our shield, we have our radar. All are at 0.4, right? Ready for prints. Not giving them yet. Okay. So our experiment here now is going to be that we are going to have 30 prints are given to you, right? So everybody tells you to do, the only way to really spend those 30 prints is to put 2 dots on each character. That would be 5 prints for 1 dot, 10 prints for the second dot. That's 15 prints. Then for Stepman, we have 1 dot here and 2 dot. That's 15. So now we are going to go straight to the sandbox, and we're going to see offensive numbers of how this team does in our sandbox environment. All right, we're going into the sandbox environment here. Have the team set up. We are going to take on a tank team. We're going straight up here. We're going to put Marshall against Kim. And yeah, we're going to run the battle. So here are the numbers that we have, as you can see with the gun. Very good numbers. And then we have damage taken won't necessarily matter as much into these numbers. We're more looking offensively anyway as far as the battle goes. How much damage were we able to do? Okay, so we have that. So let's try this again. We'll do this a couple times. We'll take down the numbers here. We'll do it live. We'll manipulate anything. We're just going to do the straight up numbers so everybody can see. 2 dots here for Kim. Let's try it again. Go. There's our third attack. And now let's do this. We'll do a 1 more for good measure so everybody can see the numbers. And we'll track it. There we go. There are our numbers of our 5 attacks with 2 dots. Okay. So now in comparison, what we want to do, we have those 2 dots that we did. Let's now set up the characters with, QB's way of talking about 1.4. And let's take a look at setting the characters up that way and seeing if there's value. Okay. So now what we've done is taken those same 30 prints. The only difference is we've given the radar here to 1.4 for 5 prints, and then we've given Williams 1.4. We gave him a shield, we gave him a radar, and then Stetman and Kim, we've only given a gun and a chip to Kim and just the gun for Stetman. So together that would be 5 for the gun, 5 for the gun, and 5 for the chip for Kim, 5 for the radar, 5 for the shield for Williams, and 5 for Murphy. So that's 30 prints, same 30, put into a 1.4 scenario instead of the 2 dots. Let's see how we do in the sandbox against our same numbers. Here we go. We are going to run the same lineup. Williams or Marshall against Kim. Same theme. No variable difference. Here we go. Only thing that changed was our gear. See how we do. Here's our damage for our first battle. We're going to do 4, and we'll take the averages just like we did for our 2 dot gear. Here's the third battle. There you go. And now let's take the 4th battle. Okay, let's take these results. back WC, and I'll throw them in a spreadsheet and give you the comparisons. Okay, so what are our results of the test? Okay, so as you can see, we have the 2-dot guns. We ran 28, 28. We had 20 and 20. We ended up with 24.4 out of the 4 tests. That ended up being the average. We ran these 4 tests. It ended up being 25.5 with the 1-dot on 6. Okay, now the team that we're going against is a harder team, so these battles end quicker. The numbers aren't as large or staggering as they could be, but both gears were thrown in to the same scenarios of us spreading out the gear versus the 1-dot. I didn't even need it to win that battle, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be the 2-dot guns may come out a little in front of all of it. My point was more, there's validity to the fact of moving it around. Even more validity now that the numbers actually came out better for the 1.6 gear, okay? The point here is not whether 2 dots is better than 1 dot. Because 2 dots, of course, is better than 1 dot. 2.4 is better than 1.4. We know this. This is giving the option of just looking at somebody's team and saying, wow, they have 1 dot on your team. That's a dumb way to do your gear. It's not. It's not. It's viable. Run the numbers yourself. Instead of just listening to people who say, oh, this should happen or that should happen, just run the numbers. They're right in front of you. You can sandbox anything you want with any piece of gear and actually look at numbers instead of hypotheticals. And this will show you. Now, again, I feel like once we get this 1 dot on your teams, okay, so we have it on, Murphy, we get the 1 dot radar, we get the 1 dot shields for these. What I would be doing is actually focusing on those same pieces all the way up to 4. So what I would like to do is actually take Kim's gun as we go and make that 2 dots. We make Stetman 2 dots. We make, the shields 2 dots. I would keep going with these same pieces of equipment until they are 4 dots. No need to spread out any further. You have your defense right here. With your 2 defenders, you have your gun and your chip, and you'll have your strength from your attackers maxed out. And that's the how I would start with your gear journey. I think it's just a point of you can do that from a 1.4 standpoint. You can do that from a 2.4 and then a 3.4 and then a 4.4. You don't need to only do 2 dots. There's not only one way to do this. So anyway, this is part 2 for this gear. I hope that cleared up a bunch of stuff on how you can use this strategy, where you could use this strategy, with what teams you would be able to use it for. If you have any questions, please let me know. We'll also go over some of the figures for you. If you want to see a specific set of equipment that we're raising, please let me know in the future. I can certainly show you any numbers as we increase that gear. If you're interested, if you're new to the game, you're looking at planning these numbers out and figures out. And then also, we'll do this same strategy where we can look at this from a perspective of, 3.4, because I think this is going to happen as well as you get into more prints. It gets, more expensive to use 20 prints to push gear up forward. It's a little different scenario when you get into the 3 versus the 4 because you have a lot of prints anyway you're gathering for those, but it's still worth it for this. Again, if you're just doing the starter 6 pieces, I would start it. And then we'll also, next time, we'll get into next steps on once you finish the 4 dots on this gear, what I really would recommend you to push forward for your next gear. So hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Reach out. That is all. QB18 out.